4.0. So if you've actually been with us right from 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, it's 4.0 now, and it's glad to have you all here with us. So I'm going to be like calling out names and hearing people's voices, knowing how your day is going. So I know I saw Jordan first. So Jordan, how are you doing? Hello, Jordan. Are you there? Okay. Who did I see next after Jordan? I think I saw Dr. Rishime or Kekema. Please, doctor, help me with your name so I will not say something dangerous. How are you doing? Oh, Rishime, how are you doing now?
I'm fine.
Glad to have you on the call. All right.
Doctor has been consistent across like 2 of our webinars. Doctor, we thank you for your attendance. We appreciate it.
That's welcome. So very soon, our doctor will be the one that will be speaking to us
very soon.
All right, so right away, I think while we wait for other people to join, I wouldn't want us to waste much of our time. I can see Valentine is here. I can see Obi-Wan Kayode. Abdulazim, you're welcome. So once again, my name is Emmanuel Azim, and I'll be hosting you through the course of this event. This is Scholarship 4.0, Scholarship Hub 4.0, and the main intention is to try to expose Nigerian students, most especially Africans, to understanding the unique opportunities available to us while you're trying to seek out academic goals in your career growth. So with respect to this, we try to bring out professionals, people who have had expert experiences in trying to see how to gain astute scholarships to top organizations, top schools around the world, be able to contribute immensely to the society at large. And we've had a series of great people speak to us today. And today we'll be having Mr. Henry talk to us. Henry has been on the call right from the beginning. I'm sure those of us that joined earlier before now had already started enjoying the conversation. So you can see how cool it is speaking with him. Please and please maximize tonight's opportunity. Pump him all the questions you need to pump him, ask him everything you need to ask. Probably know what is so unique about his scholarship, how he was able to get it, and probably the lifestyle wherever he is. If you feel you want to go join him where he is, his story is quite unique. I'm sure it's also very, very immensely important to each and every one of us here. So right away, I'll be welcoming Osita to quickly just tell us something unique or very important about today's session. So Osita, please, you're welcome on board, and we're happy to hear from you.
All right, thank you so much, Uzim. You guys are welcome. My name is Osita, like you said, and I am the co-founder of Flourish Consult. So Flourish Consult is essentially an edutech startup. What we do is that we try to connect people to scholarship opportunities. And we do this by offering services. We're trying to build a platform that's supposed to contain the largest scholarship database in Africa. And right now, how we're going about it is because we're still in beta. What we're simply doing is that we sort of like understand what our clients want, the countries that they're interested in, and then we sort of like go about trying to do the research to find out where all the schools that they're interested in that have the relevant funding, because funding is like a major criteria for young people in Africa that are looking to study in different universities abroad. So what my organization does is that when you talk to us and tell us what you're interested in, then we go ahead to try to find all the different schools and all the different courses that you're eligible for that also have funding. So we do personalized email reminders, which means that we're going to like follow you up, because some of the times it might even just be the recommendations or your transcripts that are the problem. So we sort of like follow you up to ensure that you get all those documents on time so that you're able to meet the deadlines of the specific scholarships that you're looking to apply to. So over the past 2-3 years, we've successfully helped so many other people get scholarship in different countries and different scholarships in Nigeria as well. So yeah, that's what we do at Flourish Consult, and I'm excited that you guys are here. Thank you. Uzim, over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Osita. So that's just a quick tidbit about Flourish Consult. To know more about them during the course of the program, much will be talked about and how to register, things and key highlights that you might pick up from program as we go ahead. So I wouldn't want to waste much time. I'll be inviting quickly our guest speaker. He's no other person than Henry Ugwu. So I'm just going to be reading his profile so every one of us gets to see. So I'll remove these glasses so you will not think I'm the only serious person in life. So Henry Ugwu is an LLM candidate in the Human Rights and Migration Law at the Radboud University in Netherlands. He studied law as an undergraduate at the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, which is UNN. Prior to enrolling at the Radboud University, he worked as a managing partner at Clay and Amiscus Law Practice with offices across Anambra State. He was the secretary of an NBA branch in the state and served as a member of the panel of inquiry set up in Anambra to help track extrajudicial killings carried out by the police during the EndSARS movement. He is currently a volunteer with the Phoenix Humanitarian Legal Aid, an NGO based in Lagos, Greece, where it offers free legal services to asylum seekers. Please join me as I may welcome Henry Ugwu as he takes up our session this evening. Henry, you're welcome. How are you doing?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
I'll apologize because I'm going to be a bit formal. I don't really see myself as an academic, so for those of you expecting to hear one academic presentation, then sorry to bust your bubble. I'll just be as informal as possible, because for me the essence is to see how if there's any relevant guidance I can give, I give them. If there are practical questions that I could answer to help everybody in their own individual journeys, I could also contribute in that wise. I am a beneficiary of the OKP Scholarship. The OKP is, what OKP means is Orange Knowledge Scholarship. It's actually a Dutch, that's a Netherlands government funded scholarship to nationals of certain countries, for people who are mid-levels in their career. The major aim is actually to help deepen your knowledge in certain sectors so that you can actually return back to your country and invest that knowledge to make sure that your country is better. So for me, it was a perfect fit because I think I'm one of the most patriotic Nigerians. So I actually long to come back to Nigeria. So it just came in at the right time, and it presented the opportunity for me to deepen my knowledge in human rights law and migration, which has been the genre of law that I took most interest in. So I'm finding it difficult to narrow down the information I'm sharing today to OKP, because I see scholarship applications as basically the same thing, like whether it is OKP, whether it's Erasmus, whatever it may be, the rudiments are usually the same. The underlying principle is, if you're interested, then you have to be deliberate about it. You have to be serious about it, because when the opportunity comes, whatever the name may be, the most important thing is that you're ready for them. So when I hear people say, they're interested in scholarship abroad and you don't have an international passport, in my head, I'm saying, this your interest is the kind of interest that, the Israelites had when they wanted to cross the Red Sea without ship.
The interest is interesting.
Honestly, the interest is really, really interesting. So there are certain basics that everybody who is interested in schooling abroad via a scholarship opportunity must have. If you don't have these, you're just playing. And of course, some of them are basics. You could always have them, but it's always important to have them handy, because an opportunity may just come. I'll share my story personally to tell you why these basics are even more important, than they're usually touted to be. So, of course, passport is number one. You can't be talking about living in Nigeria and you don't have an international passport. It's also important for you to have your transcripts handy, because most scholarship platforms will usually want to see some proof of you having gone through a tertiary institution in Nigeria. So, of course, they also want to validate some of your claims as to maybe the class of degree you graduated with and all that. So it's also important that you have your transcript very handy. I've also never seen a scholarship platform that did not require recommendation letters. So since this is a basic necessity, it also means that you must have your recommendation, at least 2 recommendation letters very handy. I say very handy because, you know, opportunities keep on coming. So it's always important that you're just ready for all of them. Another thing you also have to have is, or you should have, is a letter of, like, a well-written letter of recommendation. Letter of motivation. Some people call it statement of purpose. The most important thing is you should be able to chronicle your journey and why certain scholarship applications suit you. You know, you do it in a very organized manner because, you know, it's, of course, most of these platforms don't work like some of our local institutions. So whatever you write is probably going to be read by people who take them seriously. So it's very important for you to be able to chronicle your journey in a way that makes sense and in a way that emphasizes your forte, your strongest areas. Of course, you're going to need a well-articulated curriculum vitae, that's a CV, to help you to give a summary, the background of your resume and all that. Then also important to have is perhaps an IELTS result, because most places I've seen people talk about scholarships, or most platforms I've seen, there's usually a requirement at some point that you present evidence of use of English, especially if you want to come to Europe. So if you have those kind of intentions, perhaps even immigration to Canada sometimes, and those are usually underpinnings of the requirements. So it's always better you begin to think about, how do I write these exams if you've not done them? Because they have expiry dates. How do I write them? How am I best equipped to write them? You know, and all that. So once these documents are available, you find that it's easy for you to quickly adapt your application, you know, adapt the documents to suit into any available opportunity. And it helps just tweak your psyche to be ready for whatever opportunity that may present itself. So coming down to, okay, then let me share my story, why having these documents are very, very necessary. Sometime ago, I think sometime in July last year, a friend of mine sent me a mail and said, Henry, I came across a scholarship opportunity. The deadline is, I think, in about 2 weeks' time, and I think you should apply. I literally sent the person a message and said, you know, I'm very busy here. I was claiming that I was the busiest young lawyer in Nigeria. So I told the person, you know, I'm very busy. I don't have that time, please. Don't, you know, because in my mind, I had applied for tons and tons of scholarships. So it was just, you know, one of those things. I told the person, I don't have that time. Can you just, you know, just skip this one. Maybe the next one that comes, you can remind me. And she now said, you know what? Send me all your details. So because I had everything in my phone, I didn't even have to use my system. I just sent her a PDF of my international passport, of my transcript, of my CV, of my letter of motivation. I just sent everything to her, and she did the application on my behalf. I didn't even know what was OKP. I didn't even know what was right. I didn't even know anything about anything. I was just in the comfort, just living my life. Until sometime around September, I got a mail and said, you have been awarded the OKP scholarship. So I just forwarded the mail and I sent it to her. Her name is Sheola Adelusi. Coincidentally, she's also enjoying the Erasmus scholarship. I think she's currently in Croatia. Very excellent friend. So I just forwarded the mail to her and said, Sheola, these people are giving you a scholarship. You can now come and explain it to me. Let me even know what you're saying. You know. So the point is, of course, it seemed like a very easygoing affair and casual affair. But just imagine, for any reason whatsoever, that at that point I didn't have my international passport. There's no way I would have been here, you know, now. Just imagine, for any reason whatsoever, I did not have my transcript. UNN will take you at least a few weeks before they send it to you. That is why these things are very important, because there are so many opportunities on ground. I don't know all the available scholarship opportunities. Some of them are, you know, there's still new opportunities that are going to come up. So the most important thing for somebody who has scholarships or educational pursuits in mind is to make sure you have some of these online documents very handy, so that whenever the opportunities present itself, you can just, you know, with the snap of your fingers, have a go at it. So how the OKP works is that when you go on their website, you see, actually, it's, like I said, is a program that targets individuals who are, you know, in the mid-level of their careers, young professionals. And if you visit the relevant website, they have accredited courses in different Dutch universities, courses that cover, you know, various genres of academic pursuits. And if you see a course that you like, you now apply to the institution for admission for that course. If you meet the admission requirements and you get the admission, then you inform the institution that, you know what, I want to apply for the OKP scholarship. The institution will now ask you for some of the documents you need for your applications, like motivation letter, you know, and all those stuff. Then if you, the institution nominates you for the scholarship, then you now go through the screening process. So basically, you do not do anything, other than applying for admission and getting your relevant documents handy, so that if you get the admission, which you probably will get if you're clear-headed, because Nigerian universities are actually, as much as there are so many things to change, they actually give us very relevant training. So across the world, Nigerian universities are recognized. So most times when you apply for the admission and you have all the documents ready, which shouldn't be a problem, whatever you apply, wherever you're going to, they usually give you the admission. So getting these documents are very handy. So like I said, once the school grants you the admission, you send the school a mail and say, you know what, I'm interested in the OKP scholarship, and I want to know what is the procedure to be nominated through the school, because you don't apply directly to OKP or to Norfolk yourself. You apply through the school. So the general schema of the application process is, applying for admission to the school. When you get the admission, you apply to be nominated through the school. So, but there is a short timeline, because OKP happens in, funny enough, actually, it was a grant. The OKP scholarship was under a grant that was meant to last for about 5 years, since 2017. So they had what they refer to as grants for short courses, and some other grants for master courses. So short courses were courses that were going to run between 2 weeks to 12 months. Master courses are courses that can run from 12 months to 24 months. So currently there are openings for short courses, which are courses that can run from 2 weeks to 12 months. So anybody who is interested should visit. I'm going to share the website here. So anybody who's interested should visit the website I'm going to share. Go through the courses available and the schools available, because there are so many courses. You're going to be the one to determine the kind of short course you're interested in. And the moment you see a course like that, you immediately contact the school for admission. So the moment you admission, you now inform the school that you're interested in the OKP scholarship. The website is very detailed. I think I'll just share it right away before I forget. So why I was even talking about having these online documents important is because, or having them handy, is because there are so many options available. Even if you go to that website, you see various other scholarship options available in the Netherlands. That's the way it is in most parts of Europe. And that's why the emphasis is always on having some of these documents that that virtually all scholarship options ask for, because so many opportunities exist. As you're going through in the Netherlands, you look for opportunities, in Belgium, you look for opportunities in France, wherever. They're all there. And once you're ready for them, you're always you always have an advantage to just take off, despite the requirements that they may present. The similarities are always very very few. Then I always like to also advise people to look towards the US, towards Canada especially, because they also have a number of schools that present good options to fund your tuition without having to pay. So I think this is basically just the summary when it comes to the OKP scholarship. OKP is not really so technical. It's competitive, but like I said, the way your application is going to stand out is when you emphasize your forte being your strong area. There are quite a number of people who will say, they had first class, and it becomes the signature of the application they're making. Some other persons like us did not have first class. I'm not sure if we will ever have first class if the way things are going, but everybody has a strong area, and certain persons may be the kind of work experience they've gotten post graduation. So a young professional who's maybe had very critical experience in maybe volunteering or in certain important areas of the economy can always emphasize the progress you've made in that area. So it's really not about what you made. As much as it's important to have good grades in the university, it's usually not always about that. What is important is figure out what is your strong area. If possible, locate mentors who've gotten certain applications, who successfully applied for through certain scholarship platforms, have guidance from what they went through and emphasize your strongest areas. I'm saying it from experience because I know perhaps my strongest area may not have been academic angle as much as it was the professional experience I had, because I had so much professional experience that it was almost unbelievable at some point to reckon that somebody as young as I was at the bar had gone through all the kind of experiences I touted to have. I had good experiences in MBA leadership, I had good experiences in practice, I had good experiences in NGO volunteerism, and these were the things I brandished that I felt made my application stand out. So scholarship races are personal races. The most important thing is to look inward. You don't have to say XYZ person got a first class and that is why the person got a certain type of scholarship. If you continue to go through that angle, you may never ever successfully apply for any scholarship. So you have to look at what works for you. You have to look at where you are. You have to look at where you're going. So if somebody is saying, I want to invest in policy in Nigeria, then it should ordinarily follow that when you're making your application, your motivation letter should not be saying that you worked in an agricultural firm and you have been helping to milk cows for such a long time and you want to work in the long term to influence policy in Nigeria. It doesn't tally, you get. So, but if you're saying, like someone like me, who's always been interested in human rights and non-governmental volunteerism as it pertains to refugee law, and all those, a very critical part of my application emphasized how I had volunteered in numerous NGOs in Nigeria. I had been involved in, even at a very low level, policy instruments, human rights activism, human rights advocacy, human rights education pro bono. I was actually a pro bono human rights educator on radio for more than 2 years. All these formed, to my knowledge, the sparks that made mine stand out. So you have to be conscious about what works for you. You have to be conscious about where you are, where you're going to, so that everything you're doing tallies. Because like I said, at the end of the day, these people read what you send to them. So if you send something that inspires, it's naturally going to trigger certain sentiments that are going to affect your application favorably. On the other hand, if it's just disjointed, when you're just trying to play in the kind of roles you've seen certain other persons play, if it doesn't fit into the kind of opportunities you're trying to get, it's never going to work out that way. So I think for now, this is the little I'm going to share. Then we see whether there are any specific questions that I could help clarify. Then, of course, the OKP scholarship covers, is a full tuition scholarship. So it covers accommodation, it covers tuition, it covers living expenses, insurance, and all those. So those items basically cover everything you're going to need throughout your study stay in the Netherlands. So it's really a very good scholarship option for some of you to explore, especially for the short-term program that is currently ongoing. I think there's current. You just have to visit the website and go through the scholarships. You see quite a number of them. I encourage you to go through all of them to know those that you're eligible for. But the OKP is there. There's a short scholarship, short program scholarship ongoing. I know there's one that's going to begin. The application process is going to begin sometime in September. So you could just get all these documents ready if you don't have any. Like I said, from the international passport to the curriculum PT and everything, just have all of them ready. If you're doing letters of motivation, make sure you have them handy such that you've done something and somebody who has good experience has gone through them and edited them for you, so that whatever application that be coming, you could always just tweak it to fit into exactly the the requirements of the platform that you're going to be applying to. So thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for the opportunity. So over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Henry. That was quite expository. You really delved deeply into the main story of the day. So I would like to welcome questions from anyone who has any. If you listened very carefully, you've understood everything is said, and there's something quite bothering you, please feel free to ask the questions. It's all open, it's all free. Remember, Henry has allowed everybody to be informal with him today, so please feel free. So let's go ahead. Who wants to build the cat? Feel free to use the raise hand button and I'll just call you up. Any questions regarding the OKP scholarship, how to go about it? Okay, so Tosin Oludayo, please go ahead with your question.
All right, good afternoon, Henry, and good afternoon, Flourish Consult. So I have two questions. The first is for this OKP scholarship, so the short courses you mentioned, like how are they structured? Is it like they're like for 2 months after which you come back to Nigeria, or they're like 6 months or 8 months? What do they look like? And for the proper masters, like does Netherlands afford students to like stay back after their studies, or you have to come back to Nigeria? So those are my two questions.
All right, thank you, Tosin.
Okay, yeah. So for the short courses, they're usually courses that run from 2 weeks to 12 months. So different universities under the OKP scholarship program have different types of courses. It could be ranging from law to the medicals to the sciences and all that. So it's for you to go through all the short courses available, or to, for instance, if you're interested in short courses on law, you could always narrow down to law. You find the short courses available in different schools. You could now decide to read up about the school, contact the international office of the school and tell them you're interested in applying for admission. So that's basically as it has to do with short courses. For the long courses, it's the same procedure, but for now, I don't think there's any ongoing call for application for the short courses because, like I said, they run under a budget. However, the difference that long courses or master courses are courses that run from 12 months to 24 months. The other runs from 2 weeks to 12 months. Generally, when you're coming to the Netherlands after you've gotten the visa, you're given, what's colloquially referred to as a student. After you get your Schengen visa, you're given a residence permit that covers your stay. For instance, if your program is for 12 months, you're given a residence permit that covers, that period of time. Ordinarily, with the permit, you can work a certain type of hours, maybe 16 hours a week or something like that. Once you come into the Netherlands, if you intend to stay back after the expiration of your program, it is left to you. Ordinarily, if you do an academic program, you have the option to stay back for at least a year, which is structured in such a way that it encourages international students to maybe explore work opportunities in the Netherlands. Maybe if you're able to get a job, you can now apply for a work permit and stay back fully. Or if you want to do relevant internship to the program you've undergone, you could use your 1 year stay, automatic stay, if you decide to activate it to stay back and get that kind of experience. If you get good work immediately after your program, you can always apply for a work permit. Your residence permit will also be issued tied to your work permit, and you're going to stay, as long as you're able to meet the requirements. So basically, there are prospects to stay back for anybody who wants to stay back once you've gotten here. That's just the way I see it. So for the way you're sounding, you want to stay back. So if you get here, just get here first when you get here.
All right,
Thank
thank you so much. Yeah, so Osita, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, because I heard you say something like people that are mid-level in their career, and I'm guessing that you mean maybe people that have worked in a specific sector for a number of years, right? So does that apply to people that are self-employed? Because I've been running my business for like the past 3 to 4 years. So
yeah,
can people like me apply?
Yeah, it certainly does. As a matter of fact, while I was in Nigeria, other than most of the experiences I had, a number of them were what you could say call self-employed, even though except the volunteerism that I volunteered with organizations. But I know quite a number of people who are able to sell themselves via even the kind of experience they've gotten through entrepreneurial investments, So you just have to find the right language to just fit into the requirements. But it certainly follows that self-employed people can also participate and benefit.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sita. Any further question for Henry from anyone listening? Please feel free to ask the questions. So, Henry, just a follow-up on the questions they've asked you.
Yeah.
Does it essentially mean you have to be a mid-level career person before you can apply for OKP? Or can probably a new graduate, a recent graduate, just apply for the scholarship?
Well, thank God I started by saying this session is informal, so I'll be as honest as possible. Mid-level is a function of your CV.
Okay.
Yeah, so to that extent, the ball is in your court to be able to determine how you couch the language. Somebody can say, I've been involved in pro bono legal services projects through University of Nigeria Students Bar Association for XYZ number of years. That's us, but I'm sure Osita knows what I'm talking about. So depending on how you couch it, it doesn't have to be. That's why especially when you come to Europe, you find that the way we take job experience and work experience is not exactly the same way they do in some other places. Internships, for instance, are very relevant work experiences, and you don't have to graduate to be involved in an internship, So all those come into perspective. You just have to make sure you tailor the language of your application to show that you meet those requirements, and I think that's what's most important.
Okay. Thank you so much. So that means one just needs to know how to tailor their selves.
Yeah, you just, of course, it's good to have good experience because you'll be able to defend it better. You'll be able to explain it if ever comes to that level, But I believe anybody who is thinking about it at this point are probably people who've had some form of experience. I don't reckon that anybody in 500 level is following now or something. There's usually people who've had, a cocktail of experience. For instance, anybody who is even graduated and followed the mandatory youth service corps to a large extent has gotten some form of postgraduate experience. So it goes to show you how all these things can just work to play to your advantage so long you're able to couch them appropriately.
All right, thank you. Then another one because you said applying, you have to go through the route of the schools first before the schools now nominate you for the scholarship. Do you need to make any application fees while trying to apply to the schools, or is it free? And if the application fees, is there a way to avoid them? Is there like fee waivers or thereabouts?
Well, it's a little bit tricky for me to answer this question now because, like I said, there are different kinds of schools.
Okay.
Just like in the US, sometimes if you want to apply to the US for masters as a law, that means as a law graduate, if you want to apply through the general application platform, which is LSAC, you may have to pay certain types of fees. But on the other hand, you can actually contact the institution directly and say, I'm interested in XYZ program. Can I apply directly through the school? So for me, I applied directly through the school I'm attending here in the Netherlands, or there in the Netherlands, Radboud University. And I did not pay any fees whatsoever. So I'm sure it's probably going to be the option to contact the school directly and tell them, I want to get relevant information and I want to apply through any workable school channel that is available to me.
All right, thank you so much. So Abdulazim's hand is up. So Abdulazim, can you go ahead with your question? Hello, Abdulazim, can you hear me? I think he's unmuted, but we can still hear him. Azim, say something. Tell me I'm looking awesome. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, I don't think we can hear you in case you can hear us. Does any other person have any question? Feel free to use the chat box as well. Abdulazim, since we can't hear you, you can actually just chat it. Maybe it's an audio challenge. But in that respect, let me see. So, Henry, you said that in the beginning you're a patriotic Nigeria, which we actually quite agree with. So, and I'm trying to tie it down to the scholarship. So I want to understand, does the OKP scholarship have any clause that when you're done with the program, you are mandated to come back to your country and work or do something before you return? Or the scholarship allows you that once you're done, you can actually reside back in the country of residence?
Well, I'm going to answer this question by saying the scholarship platform desires that whatever knowledge you get is going to be invested in the areas or in the area you were functioning back in your country of origin, your home country of origin. So to that extent, it is desirable that you return back to invest that kind of knowledge, because for instance, certain persons in maybe agriculture will say they want to get certain types of experiences to help production so that they can influence the production sector in the country propitiously. So you should ordinarily follow that once you're through, you should also have that in perspective. But be that as it may, when it comes to talking about valid stay as it is, the question is, have you finished your program? Yes. Are you staying back? If so, upon what basis? So if you're working and you have a work permit, your stay is valid, so there's really no compulsion per se, or no practical compulsion to ensure that your return to the country to, in quotes, invest in knowledge. After all, if they say they will return you and you go back to the country and say you will not even work again, will anybody flog you? So I think it's really just a very loose statements to just at least make everybody consider the fact that if there's any way you can positively influence the area you're coming from, then you should also think about it.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so Abdulazim has dropped his question on the chat, so I don't mind. I hope you don't mind if I read it up.
Yeah.
So, okay, so he said, are there schools that would take a letter of English proficiency in place of IELTS, sir?
The truth is there are schools that will take almost anything, and that's why I say, as much as I always advise that everybody who is interested at least begins to contemplate having the IELTS results, because it seems like most places I see about scholarships is always a requirement at some point. So it's good to have it handy. But for instance, personally, I never wrote IELTS. I don't even know what it is. So when I was applying, they told me you have to submit IELTS results. And I wrote them a mail and I told them that there's COVID-19 and I cannot move, that I'm on lockdown, so that they should just slate an interview so I can speak English to them, and they say that I can speak English. I did not say, write an essay of 700 words. 700 words was really, really small. So that's how it applied to me. So what it shows is that the process here is very interpersonal, I dare say. So it's there for you to, if you have any inquiries, contact the school, send them a mail. Just try as much as possible when you're sending mails to people at that level to be as official and as straight to the point as possible. You don't send the person, maybe even if some of them have WhatsApp links, for instance, because some schools give you so many options to contact them. Then somebody goes to go and write hi. And you writing hi, so you write hello, then you write how was your day and all that. No, you just go straight to the point. Hello, my name is so and so. This is the level of my academic pursuit. This is the level of my, entrepreneurial or professional pursuit. I'm interested in XYZ program and all that. So, if they say IELTS, you could always ask, are there other options? Can I do any other tests or, pass any other requirements as an alternative to IELTS? You just feel free to explore all these options. And that's why it's always important to have the documents that are handy, so that you have so much time to, get the best information from any scholarship platforms you're going through with, whether it's the OKP or not.
Okay, thank you very much. So for those of us who are probably scared, so Henry has given you the go forward that you don't need IELTS.
Nobody should write
IELTS.
You should write
I'm just kidding. Yeah. So please, if you know how to put yourself forefront and let them know that yes, you have the proficiency in English, maybe a letter, it's fine. But I think from what I've seen, your schools, I've seen TOEFL and I've seen IELTS, and there are specific scores that you have to get to do well to have all these preparatory exams done. Just like you said, these are important requirements. So once you have them, it shows how interested you are. Unless if you're interested, it's not that really interesting, then it's really, really a problem. Then also, Henry, I wanted to find out what is it like transitioning from having a master's to a PhD. So there are a lot of us here who actually probably might be interested in going on to do research for people who are really delving into academics. But I don't know, does OKP have provisions for a PhD offering? If it doesn't, okay, go ahead.
Well, to the best of my knowledge, OKP doesn't have provisions for postgraduate PhD programs.
Okay.
And perhaps a reason for it is that most PhD candidates in the Netherlands do not pay tuition fees. As a matter of fact, if you apply in most schools, if you apply for PhD and you're selected, because it's usually very competitive, you actually agree with the school how much they'll be paying you to support your PhD program. Because the value, have the value education here, and they usually use PhD candidates to fill in certain roles, maybe perhaps teaching undergraduates and all that. So in some countries in Europe, let me not say all, like the Netherlands, if you're able to get a PhD opportunity, is almost in itself like a scholarship, because they pay you certain money to support you and you don't pay tuition fees, so I think that's the best way I want to see why the OKP doesn't have opportunities to have scholarships for PhD.
Okay, right. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Please, if you have questions, feel free to ask your people.
I actually have one.
Okay.
But this one is about like post application, right? Post receipt of acceptance letter and all that. When you're now traveling, because we've heard stories of the customs people taking people's granite oil and all that in the airport. So what's it like when you're like trying to travel to Netherlands? Is it the same hassle when going to the US?
Well, I think it's different strokes for different folks. So most times, that's why I usually emphasize whatever you're doing. Like there's no anybody who is serious about some of this stuff from day one to the end. It's always important that you do your own individual research, and see how it applies to you. Because certain times you maybe want to use a particular airline, they have certain rules that another doesn't have. So when I was going, people say don't carry red oil, don't carry this, don't carry that. Say don't grind leaves. If you grind leaves, it may look like cocaine. Everybody just has their own theory. But the most important thing is if you're following an airline, look through the requirements they give. So I didn't face any problems. As a matter of fact, because when I was leaving, it was the peak of the COVID-19 incidents. So at some point, the Dutch government brought a requirement a day before I left, saying you must have a rapid COVID-19 test done at least 3 hours before your departure, which at that point in Nigeria was impossible because at no airport were they giving me that opportunity. So I didn't even want, because in my head, I knew these people here will not understand it. So I just went there and I carried the normal COVID-19 test I had and I gave them. And the person read and like, wait, that they have an information that says the Dutch government we must present COVID-19 tests three, at least not later than 3 hours before your departure. The person looked at it and said, this must be a mistake. I'm sure they mean 3 days. And that's how they let me pass, But even before then, I had been making arrangements with a doctor who would just scribble something and tell me, just assess me and tell me I've passed the rapid test, because I knew if I touched down with Turkey, because I was landing at Istanbul, there's a connecting flight from there. I knew that I could always do it there, and it didn't even take me more than 10 minutes. But it wasn't happening in Nigeria then. So, like I said, whatever scholarships you're doing, whatever post, scholarship travels you're going to undergo, it's important to look at the context personally. Say what applies to me, what am I? Don't just take anything for granted, so that you don't fall victim of a person's whims. Because sometimes at the airport they have so much discretion. The way you look may play a role in how somebody, wants to search your bags and all that. Sometimes I went through certain places, they barely even searched me. I thought where you see them searching other persons and all that. So just think about yourself as personally as you can, read every available document that talks about travel and necessary requirements, and just make sure you fulfill them to the best of your ability.
Okay, thank you very much for that. That was very insightful, because I think that these are some of the challenges too. You've gotten the scholarship, but you don't even really know what the travel
Exactly.
are like. So what are the key things you say that people should carry when they're traveling? That's beyond books and clothing, like, so.
Well, for clothes, actually, because most times you have a very small limit for luggage. So you really don't have, especially when you're coming to Europe, maybe to school in the Netherlands, you're not going to wear suit and tie, because if you wear suit and tie, you stand out in the whole of Europe. You ask whether you're the prime minister, you know.
Are you serious?
So you just carry a few shirts and, I can't remember. I can't even wear tie. Where am I wearing tie to now? If I wear, even, currently I'm in Greece. I'm sure if I wear tie to the office tomorrow, they will laugh at me and ask me, what is worrying you? That's the way it works here. So they're different. For instance, in the Netherlands, it rains maybe as much as 280 days a year. It's always raining. So you see people riding their bikes in there. And of course, you cannot stay in the Netherlands and not have a bicycle. So you see people riding their bicycles in the rain, just living their lives in a different context altogether. That's why I keep on saying, if for instance you're going to Greece, it will do you well to read about what's going on in Greece, read about the lifestyle, how they use their buses, how they use their trains, where available, and all those. If you're going to the Netherlands, you look at all those, the weather, the kind of clothes they use. It will really do you well to focus on your personal circumstances. So for food, well, it's always difficult to say, because the way an average young guy will react to food is not the same way an average young Nigerian girl will react. The girl may want to carry egusi and carry obon and carry all those kind of things, different kinds of leaves and all that, arrange so that they can make soup and all that. For certain guys, they may just focus on cereals, because at some point they're able to just eat the bread and the cheese and the coffee and the tomatoes and carrots that they give you in the names of dishes and all that. So I think it's just about an individual. Whatever works for you should be the priority. I remember when I was living, my mom kept on calling me and saying, I'm going to give you so. She said, I'm going to give you meat. I said, please don't give me meat. Even when I was in Nigeria, if you give me soap meat, I will not even use it for anything. It's now when I'm traveling, So you just focus on yourself, know what works for you, know what you can, last with, read up a lot about the destination you're going to, apply it to yourself as much as possible practically, then you just flow with the tide. Then of course, always important to contact people who are there having experiences. It always helps, so they always tell you, if you don't convert so much, they give you an idea as to the kind of money to convert, the kind of clothing to bring, so that you don't, stock your box with so much clothing that you're never going to need anyway. So it's always going to be an extra advantage.
I agree. I quite agree. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I think that has given people at least a bit of an idea on what to expect. So you said it's raining in Netherlands. I thought it was going to be cold. It's not cold.
Well, it's cold during winter, but even at some point during winter, it always rains. It's virtually like Netherlands are known for it. The Netherlands is known for the way it rains almost all through the year. So it's really, the rain is something else. So for someone like me, in Nigeria, at some point, if it's raining, you say, all appointments are cancelled. But you can't say you did not go to class because it's raining. When your professor is riding in the rain, everybody's riding in the rain. It's just normal for them. So it's a way to it is very good cultural perspective, and it's also interesting about how things work there.
Yeah, would you say that it's better to live on campus or off campus?
Well, I think I'll say it's, of course, but well, it's difficult to answer then again, because I can't purport to have stayed in all the campuses in the Netherlands, but to the best of my knowledge, I'll say staying around the university institutions always has an advantage, because it's not like you're going with a private helicopter that will just drop you wherever you want to go or something. You also have to check the cost of moving about, getting familiar with the most important places while you're adjusting to the system. So the closer you are to the most important points that took you to the country, the better for you. So I think to a large extent, it's usually better to stay very close to the school.
So talking about accommodation, does the scholarship make provision for accommodation, or you are mitigated to try to look for a place for yourself out of the funding you're given?
The OKP scholarship makes provision for accommodation.
Okay, so that shouldn't be a stress for a student.
It shouldn't be. You should just you just have to look for the place that suits you. But there's usually a part of the stipends that is expected to contribute towards accommodation cost.
Okay. So looking at your journey, like I'm trying to say, you're schooling in Netherlands, now you're in Greece, tomorrow you'll be probably in the UK, next tomorrow only God knows. So is it that the program allows it for, is it designated for just your own particular course of study, or is it something that is an integral part of OKP Scholarship that it promotes this diversity, this movement from one place to the other? What's it like?
Well, let me also take this and take one of the questions I see in the chat, if it's fine. Somebody said, is the LLM taught or research based?
Okay.
So, well, I also had some partial scholarships in the US when I got the OKP, but of course the OKP was most attractive because of the fact that universities in the Netherlands usually, that's for master's program, usually do research-based courses. Unlike in the US, when I don't know how to exactly qualify the kind of masters they do there. But for here, it's research-based, and that's why it's always easy to use it to get, or there's usually a higher probability that you use it to get jobs post completion of your studies. So it is, to answer that question, it is research based. So over to your question, you were asking about setting. That's Emmanuel, to your question.
Okay, so I was like, does the scholarship make provisions for people to travel between countries, or was it just with respect to your course that you studied in Netherlands and now you're in Greece? Possibly you could probably be in Zambia. So what was it like?
Well, like I said, once you have a residence permit, you can validly stay in the country for as long as it subsists, of course, meeting other very little conditions. So, but however, my program is such that you do first semester, you have a summer break, 3-month summer break before you go back and complete the second and final phase of the program. So it's actually my summer break that I'm using to volunteer legal services in Greece. So by the time I'm through with this program, I return back to continue. So anybody who also has this opportunity, if you want to use this time to go to Nigeria, fine. If you want to use it to go anywhere, it's fine. So it's really just, and of course it's easier for me because of the fact that Netherlands is part of the EU countries, Schengen visa arrangement. So once you have visa to study in any EU member states, you do not need a visa to travel to any of the 24 or 27 member states. As you could go to Portugal, you go to Slovenia, you could go wherever you want, so long as within the countries that participate in the EU, border arrangements. And it really makes travel very, very smooth and easy. So for the places you can go through train, you just go through train. For those that it's just to come to Greece. I think I paid about just 170 euros, and I flew straight from Amsterdam to Mytilene, Lesbos, where I
am. Quite interesting. Yeah, how much did I pay to go to Abuja? Long story. All right, so right away, there are some people who joined pretty much after we started. I'm sure they missed some key things, but just like a quick recap, I just want us to maybe just have a revamp of everything we've done. So quickly, everyone who joined in late, you're all welcome. This is Scholarship Hack 4.0, as you can already see. And we have Henry with us here. Henry is an LLM candidate in human rights and migration law at Radboud University in Netherlands. He is a recipient of the Orange Program Scholarship, and at the same time, he's here to enlighten us on what it entails to be a scholar with respect to the scholarship. So in essence, I will please beg on Henry to just give us a recap of everything he has discussed. He has talked a lot. Maybe based on everything he has said, he could just give us a summary. And please, I will advise that you try to listen. If you have questions, do well to ask and at the same time, feel free to enjoy the session. So thank you so much. Henry, please.
Well, I find it difficult to go through everything again in one piece, but let me give it a try. So I think the gist of everything we said today is anybody who is interested in going for any form of scholarship or who is interested in schooling abroad, especially in Europe, there are certain underlying documents that I feel is very imperative that you have. So you cannot be practically articulating about schooling out of the country when you don't have a passport, when you don't have your letters of recommendation, when you don't have your transcript handy, when you don't have a statement of purpose or a letter of motivation, handy, when you don't have, I think the other documents we talked about. Of course, I said it's also important to articulate on how to go about writing the IELTS test or for going for relevant trainings, because some of these documents form the underpinnings of most applications for scholarships across the world. Of course, curriculum vitae is basic. So it's important you have all these things ready. For those of them that you may need a second eye, maybe someone who has more experience to look at, like a letter of motivation, it's important that you have somebody look at them, because opportunities will keep on coming, whether it's the OKP or it's Erasmus, or, in fact, different universities even have peculiar scholarships that are related to different courses of study in the school. For instance, in Radboud University, the Department of Philosophy gives full tuition scholarships to certain students who want to study philosophy. And I'm sure that's the way it applies to different schools, both in the Netherlands and outside the Netherlands. So having some of these documents just puts you on a better and more active pedestal to apply for any opportunity that presents itself. So I also spoke about the OKP and talked about how there are two genres of application. Is either the master's program application or what they refer to as the short courses application or scholarship opportunity. For the master's, is the program that runs from 12 months to 24 months. And for the short programs, is any program at all in any university that runs from 2 weeks to 12 months. So I said currently applications for short programs are ongoing, and the best way to go about applying is to visit, I shared the website, visit the website, go to the OKP scholarships, look at all the requirements, check short courses that may interest you. Then you apply to the universities there and say, you know what, I'm interested in doing XYZ course. When you get admission for the course, you now inform the university, because you only apply for OKP scholarship through the universities. You inform the university that you're interested in the OKP, and the university will now give you the link through which you apply for OKP through the university. So I said, of course, it's anything that has to do with scholarship is a personal race. So it is important that it's imperative, as a matter of fact, that you emphasize your forte as an individual. So certain persons have first class. So for them, it is academic achievements that form the centerpiece of the application. So the most attractive piece of their applications. For other persons, it may be your work experience, it may be your volunteering experience. So you have to make sure that the course you're applying for is such that the kind of academic achievements you have or the professional career experience you have relates to the particular course. I gave an example and said you will not be applying for scholarships in maybe humanitarian field or policy making, and all your academic experience or career experience involves working in a farm. It doesn't tally, and it may not augur well for your application. So emphasis is ensure you research properly, ensure you have the underlying documents, have a very vast and wide approach to applying for universities, and keep trying, keep putting in the best, have mentors who've gone through those similar paths, have them review your documents, get advice from them as much as possible. When you're applying to schools, feel free to exhaust the platform they give you to ask any questions at all, to clarify whatever may be a burden to you. The advantage in Europe is that it's not such like in Nigeria, where if you're messaging a professor, you have to be very afraid, because sometimes if you just say dear Amaka instead of saying dear Professor Amaka, PhD, it will turn into a civil war. But yeah, nobody really cares. It's just be as cordial as possible, but feel free to use every platform that you see to get the best of knowledge and, to make all your applications.
All right, thank you, Henry, for the brief recap. I think I saw Obi-Wan's hand up. Obi-Wan, are you still there? Do you still want to ask a question?
I think there's also questions in the chat, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think I've been following up on that. Let me see. So, okay, I think Obi-Wan dropped the question in the chat. So, is it compulsory to learn and communicate in Dutch? What are the limitations of an English-speaking person in Netherlands?
Oh, communicating in Dutch is not a problem, because as a matter of fact, I usually say that they speak better English in the Netherlands than they do in Nigeria.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, as much as maybe 90% of Dutch people living in the Netherlands can communicate, fluently in English. I can't say that 95% of Nigerians can communicate fluently in English. So,
that's a serious one. You're shaking table though.
No, but that's the reality. I'm not, it's the reality. So, but the truth is, it's really not a problem. The only thing is that if you're applying for a program, make sure that you're applying for, because they'll usually give you options: English taught or Dutch taught, so that you don't, forget, you don't just believe that because everybody speaks English fluently, then if you go and apply to do a Dutch taught program, to speak English to you, go and you learn Dutch by force. So. So English communication is really not a barrier here.
Okay, thank you. Then I think a question from me regarding your recommendation letter. Who is this meant to be addressed to? Is this to the school or is it to whom it may concern? Who exactly gets to? Do we get to address it to?
Well, what I usually advise is that your recommendation letter should be such that you can use it for various applications. Because as much as it's good to be very optimistic that if you're applying for an opportunity, you get it, it's also important to consider that you may also want to use it for other opportunities. So it's not if you go and write to, for instance, Radboud University, they get a very senior professor to sign it for you. The next day, if you're applying to another university, you go and meet him. So if you're doing 20 schools, you meet him to sign 20 times. It's going to run away for you now. So I usually like to advise, to who it may concern, or for those who are able to give you electronic applications that you could always edit to fit the purpose better for you, so that you could use it multiple times without having to go and bother the persons who give you the recommendation. Sometimes some universities will tell you at least one recommendation from a lecturer in the institution that you attended. Sometimes they don't, like for the Radboud University I attend, they never made any specification. So I just got somebody in my office to recommend me and just got another lawyer to recommend me. So so in view of that, it's going to do you well if you have the opportunity to get maybe a lecturer to give you a recommendation letter, then you have another one handy. Just have this handy so you could always fit them for purpose of any opportunity you may want to explore. So that's the way I see recommendation letters.
Okay, so I think that answers the question to Lucy. Lucy was trying to know which recommendation works best. So whether it should come from an employee, a mentor, or people working in your field, or which are applying. But you made mention of it, perhaps a professor or someone from your academic background or your work background. So yeah, I think that's emphasis to that. Thank you so much, Henry. I think really appreciate this session. If there's any other question, please feel free before we close off for today. But before I continue, I want to say a big shout out to Flourish Consult for making this possible. Also reaching out to Mr. Henry to take out his very much busy schedule to speak with us today. I think it's really a pleasure having him around. And for every one of you who came in today, you're especially welcome. Thank you for making this a success. So with regards to this, I'm hoping that I'm expecting, let me not be like Henry, let me say 100% of us to make it into OKP Scholarship, both for the short term and either master scholarship as well. So shoot your shots, make it possible. If you need mentorship, feel free to reach out to him. He's always there. Also look out for other people who are actually distinguished members of the OKP Scholarship program. Aside that, Flourish Consult is also here to assist. So I could relate that Mr. Henry made mention in the beginning that most people find it hard to be able to pinpoint which scholarship program fits best for them. So you could actually be trying to apply to different schools and not know essentially which is actually best for your theme or for your particular course you want. And so Flourish Consult has come into the space to understand what is it that students want, what is it that graduates want, and in essence, how they want to go about pursuing their program now. Which school will be best for them? What scholarship will they need to go for? What is the kind of mentorship they need? Are their materials ready? How do we offer services? Trying to make sure that all the preparatory requirements are fully put in place. And so in doing that, that's why Flourish Consult is available. So please feel free to leverage on this opportunity. A lot of us have been here. We've seen what it's like. So for those of us considering going to the US, Netherlands door is also open to you. Netherlands will not ask you for GRE. Their TOEFL score is not that high. It's very low. Those of you that have been saying, I must be PhD, must be PhD. Now you say masters. Say thank God. They didn't even stop at master. They say they're short courses. So if you want to do a short course within 2 weeks or probably 12 months, Netherlands is another best shot for you. It also gives you the opportunity to go around Europe as well. So summertime, you can actually travel wherever you want. So it's a very huge opportunity, quite very on the low. Not everybody knows about it, but you can see the huge opportunity it provides for us. So I want to say thank you once again, Henry, for this. I appreciate it. So we'll be sharing this flyer for Flourish Consult, just in case you want to reach out. So let's hang on for that. If you have any other questions, please, I would like you to ask, because I feel this is a unique opportunity. We might not have this again anytime soon. So please feel free to ask your questions with regards to anything in this program. Okay. All right, so I can see some thank you coming in. So Henry, you have become a celebrity. It's to collect your autograph that is remaining now.
No be today now. I don't think we'll be celebrity now.
You know the show now. The guest we call a Wole Show. All right, I have Lucy's hand is up. So Henry, let's hear from Lucy. Lucy, go ahead.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much, Mr. Herring, for this opportunity and for this clarification. So while speaking, I already went through the website, and there were so many opportunities there. So my question is this.
Let me just read that. That's why I reminded people to say, so many opportunities exist. What is more important to me, even beyond the OKP, is those underlying documents that you probably need. Get them handy and begin to explore opportunities around the world. So over to you. Thank you.
Okay, so I want to ask, can you apply for like more than one university within the OKP? So because you see that a particular university has an offer different from another university, can you like try your hands on like so many opportunities at the same time within the OKP program?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I advise that you apply to more than one university because some university may respond to you faster than the others. So if a university gives you a faster response, it's always better to begin the application on time through the university that reacted fastest, you get. So applying to more than one is actually a very intelligent move.
Okay, thank you, Lucy, for highlighting that. See, I almost skipped us. Valentine, yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Henry. This is my first time here, and it has been insightful. I'm feeling bad for not attending the previous ones. So I was going to the website, and I'm a tech guy, so I'm looking at scholarships around maybe computer science, data science, software engineering. But I know when you said initially, you said something about I think not having tech, related fields or something. So I saw some computer science courses. So then I now say a roadblock kind of. I don't know if it's a roadblock. So for that OKP scholarship, they have a country focus document. So not all programs you see on the website you're eligible to apply based on your country. So that's one thing I discovered. So I checked Nigeria and I found out that they have more of human rights stuff, governance, sexual health, and stuff like that. So I'm guessing there is no way for me as a tech person to apply to those opportunities, or should I just go ahead and apply and maybe I'll be lucky or something?
Well, the truth is, like I wish I had more time, but I always prefer that we look at scholarships in a broader perspective. For instance, even in human rights, there's room for tech. I know, for instance, in a school like Tilburg University, assuming you're a lawyer interested in technology, there are courses called Law and Technology, LLM programs. So the most important thing is, for instance, a tech guy can be interested in policy in a way that affects the tech industry in Nigeria, which is even very important because, look at why they are banning Twitter. They're not able to give you any reasonable reason. It's just politics and cliches, because they really don't understand how social media works and the relevance of social media in the modern world. So it goes to show you that there's so much room for tech in various areas. The only thing is, what's important is just try to look at your applications broadly. I can't say that I've explored all the opportunities for computer science and tech related areas because it's never really been my field. But I believe there should be options, but even if they are not, for the ones that are available, you could always find a way to just tweak your applications to maybe fit in as best as you can.
Okay.
Does that help?
Thank you. Yeah, that helps. That helps. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So Valentine, please shoot it. So I've seen data science, I've seen computer science, anything science, just apply. Microbiology, you are free to apply as well. All right, so just quickly, thank you so much, Henry, and for all the questions that are dropped in. We are really grateful. So we're going to be taking a quick poll, and after the poll, we'll be signing out so that we can all go back to what we're doing. So the poll will just be for a minute. I want each and every one of us to quickly participate while we round up quickly. Thank you so much. So can we all say the poll?
I can see it.
All right, okay, thank you, Henry. Anyone having any challenge with the poll? So Henry, when are you supposed to conclude your program?
Well, I'll be concluding my master's in human rights law and migration by December, God willing.
Okay.
So who knows? I may be in Sambisa by January.
This Sambisa something is serious. I actually won't change that name to something else. Well, it will be good to have you back, really. Like, that's really good. So it's just a 1-year master's in that sense.
Yeah, it's just a 12 months program.
Okay, 12 months. So it's actually a short course in essence.
No, it's actually long because like I said, the master programs run from 12 months to 24 months. Okay. Whereas the short courses are courses that can run from within 2 weeks to 24 months, so somewhere in between. So for mine, actually, it's just a master's program, not really a short course, even though it's just 12 months.
Okay, all right, that's cool. All right, I'm still expecting our polls. Let it come in. Yes, I can see people are already responding. 27% have responded. Thank you. Please keep it coming while we quickly end this session. So for those of us who have been here, how has the session been like? I think Mr. Henry would like some feedback, so please feel free to probably give him whatever feedback you have. How has it been for you? What are the key learning points you've gotten from it? And how do you want to go ahead with your application process in essence? So feel free, you're welcome.
Okay, Chioma. So first of all, one of my key learning here is that I can actually reach out to a university, like send them personal mails. This is something I didn't know was very possible. Secondly, I used to feel like the fact that I'm in entrepreneurship, it's like the disadvantage, and I don't like the idea about writing an English exam. I personally feel like, man, I've been doing English. Like, I speak English more than any other language in my life. So why do I have to convince someone that I can read and write English to get? So hearing him say that I don't even have an exam, don't have any of these certifications, and I'm where I am today, I'm like, okay, this thing actually works. This thing actually works. So my follow-up on the program today is, just as he was speaking, I went to the website, I've looked through like 3 key programs, short programs I'm interested in. And before this week runs out, I've given myself target to actually reach out to this university and hear from them and then try something. I'm actually very scared of applications, but I'll try something.
I like that spirit. Actually, you won't be my role model. I like the whole spirited person you are. So please give it a shot. Thank you so much, Lucy. All right. So Henry, you're getting the feedback. You're doing well. Yes. Got no confidence. Go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Henry, for the wonderful section. The question I want to ask is, in the case where we don't have IELTS or TOEFL English proficiency certificate, how do we now navigate just like you did?
Well, like I said, if you don't have it, the best way to navigate it is to have it by writing it and passing it. So I usually do not want to advise. It's only in exceptional circumstances, maybe when time is very short for any reason whatsoever, that I will advise that you explore the opportunities. Like I did not write it, but the basis of my application to be exempt from the presentation of IELTS was COVID-19. Somebody now cannot use that same excuse now because the lockdown is not as efficacious now as it was a couple of months ago. So like I said, best thing is begin to, if you're ready, you don't have to present IELTS. You usually do not have to present IELTS immediately. But if scholarships abroad are in perspective, then it will do you well to begin to ask yourself, which is easier? Where can I get training? What does it cost? Just to familiarize yourself with the process. That's the best way to look at it.
All right. Thank you, Confidence, for the question. So I think we'll be trying to cut into this point.
Yes, I wanted to ask something else too.
Okay, go ahead.
Most times during course of applying for opportunities, I go to my referees always, and I want to see a way where I can stop going to them, probably have something. So I don't know what you can suggest so that I have a handy recommendation letter that is always there available for me to now to just probably use.
I think I touched on it here briefly, and I said if it's possible for you to get them to send it to you soft copy, it will really help, so that you can also inform them that you'll be using it for multiple applications. So, and a recommendation letter should not be addressed to a particular university. It can just be, just recommendation letter XYZ person, that's in respect of your name. So whenever you want to apply, for instance, to a particular school, you can just edit the recommendation and send to them. Get. So it should be in such a way that it's a soft copy, editable version, so that you can always use it for multiple applications and you don't have to run to meet those referees to keep bothering them. Because like I said, for me, the way I see some of these applications is there are so many applications across the world. To do you well to just keep exploring as many of them as you can find. That's why it's also good to follow up, institutions like Flourish Consult and other websites that give you notifications about various scholarship applications. Just follow them and continue to explore whatever opportunities that present themselves.
Okay. Thank you so much. So right away,
So I don't know. Sorry, I'm disturbing. No, I don't know whether you touched about.
You're not disturbing.
Go ahead.
I don't know whether you touched the major body and the embodiment of a perfect statement of purpose. I don't know whether you touched something that I would love to know.
Well, I don't think I can put myself out as having an answer to what qualifies as a perfect statement of purpose. As a matter of fact, I don't even believe that there's anything like that, because whatever may seem perfect to me may not seem perfect. Yeah, but I think. Yeah.
Can I reconstruct?
Yeah, well, you could reconstruct. I'm sure I'll probably have the same answer, but
actually, what I need is a kind of template that, okay, in this purpose statement or motivation letter, this must be there, this must be there, this must be there. If you don't capture this, you must capture this basis such that it is convincing enough for them.
Well, I'll say that the statement of purpose or the letter of motivation should capture briefly your academic antecedents. That you should capture, briefly capture the academic institutions you've attended. You should emphasize on academic achievements that you have. For instance, if you have a first class, or if you have certain notable academic awards and all of those, you should capture them. You should also capture your professional or career experience. In my view, this is almost as important as academic achievements. And capture, any um, volunteer efforts or non-profit efforts you've made or humanitarian efforts you've made. You should also capture the relevance of the program to your career ambitions. That's trying to put a link to that's the practical value having such a course is going to impute whatever field you may be playing at the moment, and basically just this, it's basically just about how you're able to show where you are, where you've been, where you want to go to, and how that academic course is very critical to ensuring that you get to that point. I think that's the best way I see it.
Thank you so much.
All right, so confidence. I hope that answers all your questions.
Yes, sir, exactly, sir. Thank you.
All right, so I think one key thing that Henry said was try to make sure that you make good use of your forte. Try to let them know what makes you special, what makes you stand out from any other person. So that is quite key. So there might not be a perfect way of going about it, but you're special in your own way. So try to make the deciding to know you better. So thank you very much, everybody. It was really a pleasure having you all, and has been a great session as well. Hopefully, we'll be having Scholarship Pack 5.0 coming soon. I cannot tell you when. I don't have the power. It's beyond my pay grade. But when it comes, definitely each and every one of you will be very much involved. Try to also invite your friends and anyone else who you want to be a part and parcel of this, if you want their success story to be attributed to you. So just like Henry has his own story attributed to his friend who made this possible. So it could be also you, it could be me as well. So feel free to do that. At the same time, we are also sharing our link as well to how to register on Flourish Consult. Clicking on the link exposes you to the various varieties of opportunities that we offer right here on Flourish Consult. So feel free to reach out to us. Our email is also there. You can also feel free to talk to us. I'm on LinkedIn. My name is Emmanuel Luzin. You can also reach out to Osita. Osita is also on LinkedIn. And as well, anyone, you can actually reach out to Henry as well. I'm sure he'll be willing to help in that respect. So please feel free, maximize the opportunity now that we have it at the same time. So thank you so much, Henry. I can't appreciate you more than I can, but my biggest feat, I want to say thank you. You blessed my life this evening. You blessed a lot of us who have also settled down to listen to you. So people are asking for your social handle, Henry. So I don't know. No, you're a celebrity.
Let me take it back. I'm not a celebrity, but I think on Twitter, I think just anywhere you type my full name, Henry GPK Ugwu, you should be able to get my handle. I'm active on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on LinkedIn. So, my full name should be able to get you to any of those handles. The full name is Henry GPK Ugwu. So it's also a pleasure to be here. Let me appreciate Flourish Consult. I think you guys are doing a tremendous job. For young Nigerians who really want to deepen their skill set in whatever fields they found themselves, it's always good to explore because it's very expensive to school abroad. So it's always good to explore scholarship opportunities. And I tell you, for a fact that there are so many options. You just have to be ready, and have all your relevant documents handy so that you can explore as many as come your way. It increases your chances of landing a very good opportunity sometime soon. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. So at this point, I'll welcome Osita to just do a quick closure and we'll be out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Henry. I really felt like you're a very busy person. I know that you're a very busy person, and it's just really amazing that you're able to bring out some of your time to be here with us. We're really grateful for that. So the idea of putting together this program is because we know that there are lots of young people that also want to be able to travel for graduate studies. Why we even started the Flourish Opportunities Network was because of what was written in the SDG objectives of the UN, where they said that there are countries that don't have specific capacities. So they can, even if their students wanted to study it in their own country, they can't find which universities offer that type of thing. For example, something like law and technology. You can't study law and technology in Nigeria. They just banned cryptocurrency. They didn't even try to build regulation. That's just how messed up the system is. So you can't say you're a professor of law and technology in Nigeria. It's not possible. Unless you've gone abroad and you've gotten your PhD from either the UK or even Lithuania and all these other countries. So that's the idea. In order to be able to build capacity for African countries, sometimes the young people need to actually leave and go to where they can find the information they need to equip themselves with the right skills. So, and like you said, there are so many opportunities. That was even part of the problem. There are so many opportunity platforms, but majority of them focus on how to get their ads out there. So if they have so many ads, it means that their focus is not on whether the information they provide is correct or not. Their focus is on how they can get people to click more ads. So we started to think about it. How can we actually be able to help in a way that people can actually find scholarships that are relevant to them? Because most of the scholarships you see online are scholarships related to development, engineering, maybe law, and then technology. You would hardly find scholarship related to maybe a course like food and nutrition, maybe a course like anatomy, a course like optometry. You will not see, they're not very popular. So you won't see a lot of scholarship websites publishing courses like that. So we're trying to democratize access by having our own database. We do the research. We have all the different scholarships for the different schools. So then people come to meet us to be able to access those scholarships. So that's just what we're trying to do, because it takes a lot of time to actually do research to find all those scholarships. It takes a whole lot of time. And then even if you do find one, then you now realize that, then there's the issue of the cost of living in that place. Maybe the scholarship covers only tuition. And then because a lot of people don't have a network of scholars, of different people that they can liaise with to ask them different questions, it's not really easy for one person to be doing all that. So that's just what we're trying to do at Flourish Consult. So at the moment, we're still running beta, and we're building the main platform that will be the most comprehensive scholarship database in Africa. That's our goal. And we're trying to use an AI, artificial intelligence, and big data to make that happen. The goal is that you just impute maybe your grade, whether you have any leadership experience, whether you have maybe the English language test, for example, like Henry mentioned. So when you mention all those things in the application, it's supposed to now run through our database and bring a result of all the relevant scholarships that you're eligible for in your specific course and country of interest. So that's what we're trying to build. We're just trying to build something like Ugwu for scholarships for Africans. And we really hope that by the time the application is out, lots of you want to sign up. But for now, we just have a monthly subscription plan that we use to work with people. Because even when you start the application, you still probably want one of the scholars that's gotten the scholarship to look through your application. We have a network of mentors that have gotten fully funded scholarships in the US, in the UK, China, different places, different countries. So I don't know, Uzim, do you have the flyer? So you can show them just briefly, 1 minute. And then if you're interested, you can join our free WhatsApp group where we can share more information. We post free opportunities there as well. But then if you just really want to get more personalized and really understand what exactly you're trying to accomplish within the time frame, then you can decide to sign up for one of our plans. Emmanuel, do you have the flyer?
Not at the moment. Let me try to upload it and I'll
Just
share it. Yeah.
So Henry, maybe we'll join you in Netherlands by September or next year.
You should come and ride bicycle in the rain. I'll be glad to see you guys.
It's
So it
actually a
means
case that I was reading
people there
about.
are not overweight. Since you're saying most of them are riding bicycles.
Well, they're one of the fittest set of people in the world, I think. Like,
Wow.
riding the bicycle, and I'll say 90-year-old woman riding fast and overtaking me. And my
Wow.
mind, how are these people doing this? So
I've changed my mind.
I like the way they've inculcated the riding, culture as part of them, and it really helps as a way of exercise.
Okay, that's very nice. So
Like
what it also means is that
you cannot be in the Netherlands for a while and not ride bicycle. There are more bicycles than human beings in Netherlands. So
Do I need to own a bicycle?
I know it sounds funny, but you can always Google it. You almost need to have a bicycle to survive. There, like for me to buy.
Let me understand. Are they trying to reduce carbon emission? Because that sounds like a very good thing to do.
Well, I think it's just about creating a city that works for them. It's a very practical city, And then again, it's just like I'd like to tie it to scholarship applications. Just do what works for you. So for them, it's working for them. The country is really functional because they've been able to create a system that works for them. So I think it's the best way to look at it.
Okay. Thank you so much. So this is just like a summary of what the Opportunity Network does. So we have like a scholarship database and resources like AC template, as well as access to fully funded scholarship mentors that can help you to like go through your essays, advise you, even the stuff that Henry was talking about, trying to create your recommendation letter in a way that is digital and that also contains letterhead, so that anytime you want to like apply to a new school, you don't have to like request it from the lecturer. Maybe some people that are trying to do that, you're now trying to tell the old lecturer that doesn't even know how the computer system really works to do that for you. Like we have templates for some of those things. And then Harry was talking about not even having to write the test if you're able to like talk to the school and find out what the school is saying. You can actually, we actually have a template in the event that you're trying to go to the US to apply for TOEFL waiver. TOEFL is the English test that you use in the US and North American regions. So we actually have a template for that. So those are some of the things you can access by being a part of the Flourish Opportunities Network. Who's the next one, please?
That's all from me from here.
Okay.
So we'll share this after once we register.
All right, no trouble. I don't know if they have the link to the WhatsApp group so they can join. Was it posted on the chat?
Yeah, they shared the link for registration, yes, sir.
Okay, that's all right. So guys, it's really been awesome having you here. Thank you so much. And we really look forward to seeing you in the next scholarship hack. We're starting again next month. Thank you, Henry. I'm going to be disturbing you now.
As always.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, it's my pleasure to bring this session to a close. Sorry, we did not go for any bio break. I apologize for that. Next time we'll do that. We'll even share item 7. But thank you so much for making out. You all are the real MVPs. Thank you, Henry. Thank you to all our guests here. And most especially, thank you to Flourish Consult. I am Emmanuel Uze, and it's a pleasure hosting this session. Do have a great evening.